Cameras on public roads are now taking pictures inside your car, not your license plate, your seatbelt, your phone, your passengers. This is not a future plan. It is already running in California, Connecticut, Minnesota, Arkansas, Maryland, and across the United Kingdom right now, and one county in England used this exact system to prosecute 2,200 drivers in a single 4-week stretch. Here is where it started. On the 91 express lanes in California, the Riverside County Transportation Commission spent $5 million to install cameras in the center median. As you drive under them, they fire multiple photos straight through your windshield into the front and back seats. The goal was to catch carpool lane cheaters. About 400,000 cars use those lanes every day, and officials say more than 100,000 of them break the rules. Roughly 25,000 drivers a month were using the free lane with only 1 or 2 people in the car. The cameras count heads. If the system flags a car, a real person checks the photo before anything happens. People have tried to beat it. Hats on headrests, bags stuffed into empty seats, even mannequins. The AI caught every single one. It can tell a real person from a fake one. Similar systems in other states run at 94 to 97% accuracy. Good, but not perfect. Which is exactly why a human still checks every flag before a fine goes out. That system alone pulled in over $1 million in just 6 months. Now hold that number, because the second type of camera is even more widespread. And it does not just count passengers. It watches what you are doing. A company called AccuSenses builds cameras that photograph your phone use, your seatbelt, and even eating or drinking behind the wheel. They use infrared, so they work at night with no visible flash. You will not know you were photographed until a ticket shows up in the mail weeks later. Connecticut signed a $34 million contract for these cameras. Minnesota is running them on Highway 7. Arkansas uses them in work zones. Maryland has pilot programs active in 2 counties. In the UK, a similar rollout caught 849 violations in 2 weeks. And in Manchester alone, 3,200 violations in 5 weeks. Fines in the US run from $50 to $300. In the UK, they go up to $600. But the UK has taken this even further, and this is the part that should genuinely surprise you. A system called Heads Up, built by a company named AccuSenses, uses 2 cameras working together. One fires an infrared flash straight down through your windshield. The other watches from a lower angle at full motorway speed. Together, they capture your hands, your lap, your seatbelt, and your passenger's seatbelt. In one trial in Sussex, this system logged 458 offenses in just 7 days. In Devon and Cornwall, a 15-day deployment caught 590 seatbelt offenses and 45 phone offenses. Ford's own boss drives a Chinese car to work every single day. He did not buy it from a dealer. His team shipped 5 Chinese electric cars across the ocean and tore them apart bolt by bolt in a lab in Michigan. What they found changed how Ford builds cars. This is why Western automakers are copying BYD right now. And the real story goes much deeper than one car. The man behind the wheel is Jim Farley, the CEO of Ford. About 18 months ago, he told his team to find the best electric cars being built in China and bring them to America. He picked one for himself, a Xiaomi SU7. Xiaomi is a phone company. The SU7 was its first car ever, launched in 2024. Farley liked it so much he kept driving it for over a year. He also flew to Australia to test a Chinese pickup truck called the Shark 6 against a Ford Ranger and a Toyota Hilux. He said he still does not know how they build it so cheap. Back home, his engineers took the Chinese cars apart piece by piece. Farley brought in Doug Field, an engineer who used to work at Tesla and Apple, to look at Ford's own systems. Field's answer was blunt. He said Ford's tools were about 25 years behind, not the car. The tools, the software, the whole way of building. That is the moment everything changed inside Ford. To understand why one company could put a 100-year-old giant 25 years behind, you need to go back to 1995. A young engineer named Wang Chuanfu borrowed $40,000 from his cousin and opened a small workshop in Shenzhen. He made batteries for phones. Within a few years, he was supplying Motorola and Nokia. By 2003, his company was the biggest battery maker on Earth. That same year, he did something that made his own investors furious. He bought a failing state-owned car factory. Wang had a simple idea. He believed the most important part of an electric car was not the engine, it was the battery. And nobody knew batteries better than him. That single decision built the company that Ford is now studying like a textbook. Here is the number that explains almost everything. In an electric car, the battery can make up 40% of the total cost. Whoever controls the battery controls the price of the whole car. For years, Western car companies bought their batteries from outside suppliers. They paid whatever price the market gave them. BYD went the other way. It builds its own battery, called the blade battery, using a cheaper chemistry called LFP. That alone cuts cost and weight. BYD did not stop there. It bought stakes in lithium mines in Chile and parts of Africa. So it owns part of the raw material chain too. Now watch what Ford is doing in response. Ford is building its own LFP battery plant in Michigan. Farley has openly said he is learning from BYD's playbook. Volkswagen and Porsche are moving the same direction, trying to build more of their own batteries instead of buying them. But copying a battery is the easy part. The harder thing BYD does is build almost everything itself. Its own chips, its own motors, its own electronics. Most car companies buy these parts from hundreds of outside suppliers. One industry executive said competing with BYD now means competing with an entire system, not just a car. For 40 years, the Western car industry ran on the opposite idea. Build what you are best at, buy the rest from someone else, and trust that the rest will always be cheap and available. It worked for decades. Then in 2021, a global chip shortage froze car factories all over the world. BYD makes its own chips, so it kept building cars while Ford and other companies had to shut down lines and wait. That single event changed how every boardroom in Detroit and Wolfsburg thinks about supply chains. There is also a reason none of this happens on Chinese soil in America. The United States placed a 100% tariff on Chinese electric cars, which blocks BYD from selling directly to American buyers. So instead of competing head-on, Western companies are choosing two paths. One path is building their own version from scratch. Ford's answer is a $5 billion bet called the Universal EV platform, starting with a mid-size electric pickup built in Kentucky, aimed at a price around $30,000. Farley compared it to the original Model T. The other path is simpler. Buy into a Chinese company directly. Stellantis, which owns Jeep, Fiat, and Ram, took a stake in a Chinese EV maker called Leap Motor.